So what we're going to do is we're actually going to start with the alternate version first because it's the easiest. And I like to build, from what's easiest to what's hardest because that just makes sense to me and I prefer doing things that way. So if you want to put your fingers in the F major 7 at the bottom of the page, it says alternate. It's an alternate version, F major 7. I call it the alternate because you can put it in place of an F chord in a song if you want, depending on the song. So you put your first finger on the second string in the first fret, second finger on the third string in the second fret, and third finger on the fourth string in the third fret. So all of your fingers are in a diagonal, just like mine right here. If you find it difficult to put your fingers like this, then you can always do it backwards and put your third finger on first, your second finger on second, and your first finger on last. Sometimes those diagonal chords are easier to do if you place your fingers on the third, second, first instead. Okay? For this one, if you notice, on the bottom left, we have an X next to the 5 and an X next to the 6. From now on, when I do chords and stuff like this, I'm going to put X's there because that means you do not play those strings. I know the previous chord charts I had, I didn't do this because we were just, doing a few, but now as we get into more and more chords, we really need to know what strings, how many strings, and all that. So especially with this F chord, it can be a little tricky. But we're not playing the 5th or 6th string with the F major 7. So we're strumming with our right hand the 4th string down. And that's how it sounds. F major 7. So we kind of have that 7 sound, that little, it sounds a little different. If you hear the F chord itself, it sounds more like this. See? It has a major, happier sort of sound. If you can tell the difference, the F major 7 has that kind of a 7 sound, major 7 sound. It's a little different. So that's why it doesn't work in every single song to replace, but the ones that we're going to go over next in this module, you can. And what's cool too about the F major 7 is that if you wanted to move to C from it, you just move your second finger up and your third finger up. Your first finger stays where it is, and then all of a sudden you have C and you play 5 strings. You want to move back, put second finger down, third finger down. So it makes it really easy to switch back and forth from C, especially if you're having challenges with C anyway. It's kind of fun to have something that's a little easy to switch back and forth. We're going to try version 2 now, the F major chord version 2, the one in the middle, if you're looking at the printout, or the one on the screen right now. So what you're going to do is look at my fingers. You're going to move your third finger up. That's all you have to do is move your third finger up if you're in F major 7, and then you put your fourth finger underneath it. Or if you want to build, you can build one finger at a time. But since my fingers were already in F major 7, just kind of showing you the differences between the two by moving that finger. So your third finger is now on the 5th string, and your fourth finger is right underneath it on that 4th string. So we have all 4 fingers. Okay, so now if you look at this though, we have 2 X's. We have an X next to the 1 and an X next to the 6. So that means we're strumming from the 5th string down, but we're also making sure that our first finger is blocking the first string so it does not come out. Like that sound. Okay, we do not want the first string to come out open on this, because then it'll give us that major 7 sound, and this is an F major chord. So we want to block that out and play 5 strings down. So make sure that first string is not coming out, and then play 5 strings, just like that. So if you're having trouble blocking out that first string, just kind of adjust your fingers, because I know we've been trying to keep our fingers away from blocking strings, but there's certain times when we want to block the strings. So it's kind of good practice to, do this and try to block the string on purpose, and then other chords where we really don't want to block the string at all. It'll help. All of this stuff will help with future chords. Practice that one a bit, and then we're gonna do version 1 now. So version 1 of the F major chord, this one has 2 ones on it. 2 first fingers, basically. It's like, what? 2 first fingers, only have 1. Well, this is something new. It means you barre, okay? Barring means you're pressing down with 1 finger over 2 or more strings at the same time. In this case, I would highly recommend, if you're playing this for the first time, to first put your first finger over the first and second string, because that's what it's saying, right? We're putting our first finger over the first and second string, and put it as close to the fret as possible so that it's easier to get out. And this is going to be the most challenging part of F, and that's why I say, as you work on this, play that F major 7, okay? Because this will be challenging. Bar chords will come later. Full bar chords are you're putting your first finger over all the strings or 5 strings or whatever. So this is kind of working into that. We're not going to get into bar chords for a while, but this is kind of just, working into that. But this is, something to practice. First, I would just say practice getting out the bottom 2 strings. Just your thumb and your first finger. If you can get out both of those 2 strings, then I would put all your fingers on. Okay, so just work on getting those first 2 strings out first. And an easy way to do that too is, okay, our finger pad is very soft. Harder to press down more than 1 string at the same time. So if you kind of roll your finger over sort of to the side onto the more, I'll try to get a groove to show you, over to the more bony part of your finger, like there, you're going to be able to get those strings out easier if you're having a hard time, because our finger pad is kind of too soft, especially at the tip of your finger, to get out the notes of more than 1 string sometimes. So in this case, yeah, we're putting our finger flat. We've been doing the tips, but in this case, we're putting our finger flat against these 2, but rolling it over a little bit to the more bony part. So like this is the flat, and rolling it over a little bit to get those notes out. So do that first. And then if you're good at that, then you can add the other fingers. I mean, you could do it all if you want, but I would highly recommend just starting there and then getting yourself into this challenging position of F, putting all your fingers on, and at the same time pressing those down to do the 5 strings. Beautiful F. It's so hard, but it's beautiful. So to easily do that, I would too highly recommend building it backwards, 3rd, 4th, 2nd, and then first finger to then do this. So first finger would be placed last and then rolled over. And I think your finger kind of automatically, or at least mine does, automatically feels like it wants to roll over when all the fingers are on, So your finger might naturally do that anyway, depending on your hand. Everybody's hand's different. Yes, I know F is really challenging. So don't be ashamed or shy or whatever about using F major 7 instead, especially in these next songs. So after this, we're going to be doing some songs to practice switching back and forth. But whenever you see that F, put the F major 7 until you really feel comfortable with F, and then feel like, oh, you know what, I can switch back and forth. But F major 7 works totally fine in these songs too, so no problem at all if you want to use that instead. I still do it sometimes for certain songs because I like the sound of it in certain cases anyway, so it's great.